Good evening, everybody. It's Cutler here on the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk to Cutler program, the Let's Talk to Cutler podcast, or whatever it is that we want to call it. But listen, I'm here. You all know I show up every Tuesday and Thursday for only 1,800 seconds, trying to make sure that I inspire somebody, I motivate somebody, and I challenge somebody, including myself, to show up a little bit better tomorrow than we did today. Doesn't mean that today was all bad. Doesn't mean that today was a wash. It just means that we sit down and we chat about the opportunity to see how we can show up just a little bit better tomorrow than we did today. And so if you're just flowing by my channel for the very first time and you're trying to figure out what it's all about, that's what it's all about. It's really about inspiration, motivation, showing up a little bit better tomorrow than we did today. And we're only here for 1,800 seconds. I'm chatting with fellow passengers who are riding along with me, riding down this highway, and we're reading what we call billboards, and we apply those billboards to our life. Not all of them apply every day, and not all of them necessarily apply to us, but we're taking them, we're saving them, and we're sharing some with some people, and with others, sometimes we're just sharing, we're holding them for a day when they really do apply. So listen, thank you. Go in and join the chat with me. If this is your first time, make sure that you subscribe. And after you subscribe, make sure that you click on the notification bell, because it lets you know whenever I've gone live. It lets you know whenever I've uploaded new content. Now, stick with me. Do me a favor. Go ahead and share this channel with somebody else. Share, comment, and all that. And let people know that Cutler's on. I want to ask you all this question. Have you ever traveled? Have you ever gone somewhere and you looked around and you asked yourself, what am I doing here? And then you try to decide, Am I out of place here? Let me know if you have ever done that. Or to think, not necessarily I'm out of place, but you just felt awkward and you wondered, why were you really there? That sort of thing. All right, I'll make it make sense as soon as I come back. I promise you. And I promise you, by the time we finish our discussion, we'll feel a little bit better about showing up tomorrow than we did today. Meanwhile, tell somebody, come on, y'all. Let's talk to Cutler.
Let's talk to Cutler. One more thing like subscribe and share. Come on, let's talk to Cutler.
All right, I'm back. I'm, dancing and all that stuff. One day, the camera is going to catch me dancing, because while Devin is singing that song, I'm just, doing my thing behind the scenes, and I'm always careful to make sure that the camera doesn't catch me. But that's just a nice pick-me-up song. Let me know in the chat if you all like that theme song to Let's Talk to Cutler. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and shout out our LTTC VIPs for the evening. You all always blow my mind with how quickly you jump in the chat. So do me a favor, as you're in the chat, make sure that you go ahead and share it with somebody. And I'll tell you what we're doing. Meanwhile, we're reading from this book, Billboards to Better, 366 daily sources of motivation and inspiration along the highway of life. We're reading this book. It's my 7th book. And this book can be found on Amazon.com, or you can go over to my website, www.gbcutler.com, and pick it up. This book has quotes for every day. There's a quote for every single day. It's a little pick-me-up. And even at the end of the day, or at the end of the year, rather, after you finish reading all the quotes, there's some bonus quotes in the back. We are peeling back the layers of these quotes, and we're just talking about what they really mean. I'm trying to offer a little bit of insight and just give you all a little behind the scenes, what was going on, the backstory when I wrote some of these quotes, and hopefully taking each of these quotes and making them make sense, making them apply to our lives. And if they don't apply, we're not trying to put a round peg in a square hole. If it doesn't fit, it just doesn't fit. But we're saving some of these. We're riding along the highway. We're looking at these billboards. And if they don't apply to us, guess what? We're giving them to somebody else. If they don't apply to us that particular day, guess what? We're sharing them with somebody else, or we're keeping them for ourselves, but for another day. Thank you. Some of y'all said you love the theme song. I appreciate that. But you all, don't we hear enough bad news every day? There's bad news on every major news channel that there is. There's bad news on social media. There's bad news that we get from the people in our lives. So why not take 1,800 seconds, just 1,800 seconds. I promise you, I'm only here for how long? 1,800 seconds, trying to make sure that we feel better, that we feel inspired, that we feel motivated, and sometimes feel challenged to show up a little bit better tomorrow than we did today. This is what we do. On Tuesdays, we read the quotes from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Thursday, we'll read the quote from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll discuss them. We'll make them make sense. We'll peel back the layers. And then the quote for Saturday, I say you take it, share it with somebody, let it be a conversation starter, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to go on and shout out our LTTC VIPs, the people who usually show up so quickly in this chat. Since you're here, go ahead and do a thumbs up on the conversation. So I want to say hi to Linda Martin. My cousin says, hello, we have a seat for you. Yes, if you're joining, we have a seat for you. Sonia Bailey says, good evening, everyone. Listen, good evening, everybody. Again, go ahead and invite people to the conversation. Wendy Del Val says, good evening, everyone. So those are the LTTC VIPs. But guess what? You're all VIPs. But I just want to shout out those, the people who tend to make it to the chat for the first three who show up. All right, I'm glad that you all love the theme song. You all, I want to go ahead and get started. But again, this is the book. But I want to get started with our quotes and talk about them for just a moment. And I want to see how they unfold. I want to see how they unfold. And I want to make sure, just in case I've missed you before, I want to say hi. I think this may be your first time, but if not, forgive me. But if it is your first time, I definitely want to say hi to Juanita A. So Juanita, let me know for sure if this is your first time. You all, if it is, make sure that you say a special hello to Juanita A for joining us in the chat room this evening. Let me go to the quote, you all. We're going to read the quotes for July the 25th, the 26th, and the 27th. Can you believe it's the end of July already? Where has the summer gone? Well, it's almost August, but guess what? We are thankful to still be here, right? Let's go to the quote for July 25th. It says this: I'm committed to pleasing God because God is committed to blessing me. I'm committed to pleasing God because God is committed to blessing me. And for as much as I am a very faith-based person, sometimes I like to give a little different spin on some of these quotes because I think you all might be expecting me to come at you one way and I sometimes go another way. But take a listen to this quote again. I'm committed to pleasing God because God is committed to blessing me. Yes. I am so glad. You all make sure that you do say a special hi to Juanita A. Thank you so much. I think, first time live. I'm glad you like this food for the soul. This food for the soul. You all, let's think about this quote for just a moment. I'm going to read the quote one more time and give you the backdrop, the backstory. I'm committed to pleasing God because God is committed to blessing me. Have you ever had a relationship with someone that other people tried to sabotage? Let's stop there. Have you ever had a relationship with someone that other people tried to sabotage? If so, chances are they recognize the value, the beauty, the benefits, the comfort, the authenticity of your relationship. And they might have been jealous. And sometimes people will attempt to destroy what you have simply because they don't understand that they have access to the very same thing. Let me say that again. Sometimes people will attempt to destroy what you have simply because they don't understand that they have access to the very same thing. There are some people who lead miserable lives. And rather than trying to come up to your level of joy and blissfulness, they would rather pull you down to their level of misery and discontent. But my word of encouragement for us this evening is to value and to treasure all of the wonderful relationships that you have and continue to feed and nurture and fertilize and even energize them, you all, so that you can reap benefits from them. Every positive relationship that you have, feed it. Every healthy relationship that you have, energize it. Every wonderful relationship that you have, fertilize it. So that you can reap the benefits from them, so that you can thrive because of them, and so that you can flourish even in them. My friend Mpumi from South Africa, so glad that I got a chance to see you live this evening as well. I wanted to remind you all that every relationship has what we call some element of, I studied law, and I want to share this with you. Every relationship has some element of what we call consideration. It's what we call that bargain for exchange. It's the thing that induces people to enter into relationships. But it is also the anticipated mutual benefit that one hopes to obtain rather, because of the relationship. In other words, it's what makes me say, hey, you want to enter a relationship? But it's also what makes you say, yeah, I think I want to enter this relationship. That's what we call the bargain for exchange, or that consideration. And I have discovered that the intangible consideration of some relationships, it is so awesome. It is so valuable until you can't put a price on it. Those are the kinds of relationships, you all, that are not easily broken, that are not easily dismantled. That's when people don't let folk just come in between them and mess up what they have. Those are the kinds of relationships that are not easily infiltrated. Have you ever seen people who have these relationships and anybody can creep in and out of the relationship? I don't mean cheating, but I just mean just messing up the friendships that people have. But these strong and powerful relationships, those are the kinds of relationships where people, this is what we say back home, can't nothing come between us. We got a good thing going and nothing can come between us. That's the kind of relationship where the individual says, listen, I'm committed to doing my part, no matter what comes or what goes. You all know where I'm going. May I suggest to you this? That's the kind of relationship that God has with us. I discovered a long time ago, you all, that God was not out to get me. That's why this quote says I'm committed to pleasing him, because he's committed to blessing me. God is not out to get me. I discovered that so long ago. He's not trying to punish me. He doesn't have some devious or subverted scheme that would lead to my failure or my demise. That's not how he is. But I discovered one day that God loves me, you all, and he's committed. He's committed to my success. I want you to know that the creator of the whole world is committed to your success. There is nothing that will stop him from loving you. There is nothing that can stop him from blessing you. And because he's committed to me, guess what, y'all? I'm committed to him. So you all know I always try to offer us something for the evening. My offering to us this evening is confidence, purely confidence. Being fully persuaded. My offering to us, my sisters and brothers, my friends, is confidence. I want you to be confident that your relationship with God won't crumble. I used to be nervous, just nervous and fearful that if I didn't do everything right, God was going to get me. You all know how I like to give you these stories of my life and these transparent moments. I'm telling you the truth. I should think if I didn't do everything right, God was going to get me. I really did. I thought he'd be mad at me. Clearly, I didn't understand grace because I walked in this element of fear. I was afraid, I was fearful of what, Cutler? Of the possibility of failing. I was fearful of what? The possibility of losing. I'm sharing from a place of transparency. I walked in fear, fearful of what? Fearful of the possibility of some kind of humiliation. But one day when I understood that I wasn't walking in favor, but I was walking in fear. I had a revelation of what favor really was, you all. And I understood then the power of God's commitment toward me. When I understood that I was walking in fear, not in favor, I had to do a switch. And when I got an understanding of the power of God's commitment toward me, as we say in the country, you couldn't tell me nothing. And I want you all to be just as confident about his favor in and on your life as well. I know I usually share some of my poetry with you all, but this evening I wanted to share an excerpt from my fourth book with you, because I realize a lot of times in life we're walking around, so many times we're just afraid to lose. We're afraid to try. We're afraid to dare to be different. We're afraid of so many things. We're afraid of humiliation. We're afraid of losing reputation. We're afraid of so many things. And we're so busy walking in that element of fear. I'm afraid that if I don't get this done, then my whole life is going to crumble. I'm afraid that if I don't maintain communication with this person, my whole life is going to fall apart. We walk in this element of fear, but may I offer you favor instead of fear. Because when you walk in favor, you understand the power of God's commitment towards you. I want to read something from this one book, my fourth book. And this may be the very first time I've shared something from this book. It may be, I'm not sure. But my fourth book is called The Problem with Believing God. It doesn't say the problem with God. It says the problem with the believing God. But here's one excerpt that I wanted to share with you all. It says, fear says that God is going to forsake me. Favor, however, says that God is committed to me. He's committed to seeing me through. He's committed to blessing me. He's committed to delivering me. He's committed to making a way for me. He's committed to making things work together for my good. He's committed to leading me in paths of righteousness. He's committed to perfecting everything that concerns me. So I command myself to walk in the knowledge that God is committed to me. So I wanted to share that with you all because it seems parallel with our quote for this evening. It says, I'm committed to pleasing God. Why? Because God is committed to blessing me. Can I tell you, he's committed to blessing us? He never leads us to without being committed to taking us through. All right. I just wanted to share that with you. So I offer you commitment and I offer you the power to walk in favor and not in fear. Fear says I'm going to lose. Favor says I win every single time. Fear says I don't know how it's going to turn out. Favor says I know it's going to work together for my good. All right. I want to go on to because you all know I'll get stuck there and I'll stop there. But we're sharing quotes from Billboards to Better, 366 Daily Sources of Motivation and Inspiration Along the Highway of Life. If you don't have the book, don't let that stop you from showing up every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 o'clock. Don't let it stop you. It's good to have it so you can reference the quotes when you do your daily meditations. But if you don't have it, come on over to this conversation anyway. All right. I want to go to the quote for July 26th, y'all. It says, listen to this. It says, for every one funeral you must attend, go to 2 parties you'd like to attend. If you all have been with me throughout the year, you know, I have to stop and count the number of loved ones in my family who've passed this over this past year. And so when I looked at this quote today, it sort of shook me. And I thought about what I might say and how I could cast this in a positive light where you all really would feel my heart. It says, for every one funeral you must attend, go to 2 parties you'd like to attend. This quote reminds me, you all, that there are some things that we have to do in life out of obligation. There are some things that we have to do simply because it's right to do them. There are some things we have to do because of the roles that we play in people's lives. There are some expectations that we strive to meet simply by virtue of who we are. That's that going to every funeral that you must attend. Have you ever been asked if you're going to any event? Think about this, any event whatsoever. Tell me, have you ever been asked to go to some event, whether it's a wedding or a funeral or a dinner or a celebration, a civic event, a social gathering of some sort, and your response might have been, well, I have to. It wouldn't look right if I didn't. Have y'all ever said stuff like that? Or people expect me to be there, so I guess I will. Please let me know if you've ever been put in that situation, that predicament, and that's the kind of response that you gave. I thought about how sometimes life demands and commands our attention to the things that sometimes drain us. Out of obligations, we go to and we do things that sometimes drain us emotionally, perhaps like a funeral. But simultaneously, you all, I thought about the options and the opportunities that we have to attend other events or to create other events where we can renew, re-strengthen, revive, revamp, and refresh ourselves. And that's what I want to share with us this evening. There are things that we have to go to that will sometimes drain us, but we also have the opportunity to create other spaces where we can be renewed and re-strengthened and all of that. One day I just decided that for all the times that I was compelled to cry, there would be days when I would choose to laugh. I told myself that for all the times that I was forced to weep, I would take advantage of the opportunities when I can rejoice. So when there were things that would drain me, I would take advantage of the opportunities to be renewed. I told myself that for all the times that I had to be dismayed and bewildered, I would create my own opportunity in my own space to experience relaxation and to be at peace. What am I saying this evening, y'all? I'm saying that for every not so good experience that you have in your life, learn to create other spaces and other opportunities to bounce back and refill and be refueled. Every time you experience darkness, commit to finding light. Every time you experience a setback, commit to finding a way to come back. Every time you experience negativity and resistance, learn to surround yourself with positivity and powerful affirmations that speak to the value and the beauty and the strength of who you are. Every time you feel there's something depleting your energy and causing you to feel uninspired, meet me here every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 o'clock for 1800 seconds. Because guess what? We're riding along the highway. We're riding along the highway. We're picking up fellow passengers. We're riding, y'all, but guess what? We're recharging. We're riding, but somehow we are managing to reinvigorate ourselves. We're riding, but somehow we are realizing that we have value and purpose and that our space in creation is just as secure as the mighty oak tree that stands in the forest. That's why we show up every Tuesday and Thursday. That's why I love seeing your names pop up in the chat, because just as I'm speaking to you by your presence, you speak to me and you remind me that we all are just as valuable as the oak tree that stands in the forest, just as valuable as the lion that roams the plains in Africa, just as valuable as a great white shark that's navigating the oceans. We are all just as valuable. So we're taking time to re-energize ourselves. I promise you, you show up here, and by the time these fellow passengers finish chatting with you, the next time you walk past the mirror just might call you back to get a second look at that wonderful person who just passed by. The mirror might say, hey, who is that? That's not the person I just saw go by. But I want you all to be reminded that for every not so good thing that commands your presence, you learn to create a space to be renewed and recharged and revitalized, re-energized for the journey. All right? You all do me a favor. I think it might be my friend Sweet Merciful J's very first time. So make sure that you say a hi and a welcome to Sweet Merciful J. Thank you so much for showing up in the chat. I appreciate you being here, my friend. All right. We're reading from this book here, Billboards Are Better. We're just reading the quote, you all. And you all know I'm only here for 1800 seconds. So let me move on to the next quote. All right. I want to go to the next quote, the one for today, July the 27th. And listen to this, you all. It says, when others try to write, when they try to write you off, let God write, in terms of R-I-G-H-T, write you back in. So when others try to write you off, let God write you back in. What am I saying? Cash in your redemption chips as often as possible. Cash in your redemption chips as often as possible. Y'all, I can't say this enough. Don't let anybody tell you that you don't have a right to be here. Wherever here is, don't let anybody tell you. That's why I asked earlier, have you ever gone someplace and you ask yourself, what am I doing here? And you felt awkward, you felt out of place. But I want to remind you all, don't let anybody tell you that you don't have a right to be here. Don't let anybody tell you that you don't have a right to happiness. Don't let anybody tell you that you don't have a right to success. Don't let anybody tell you that you don't have a right to smile and a right to laugh. Don't let anybody tell you that you don't have a right to walk in the fullness of all that you are. Anybody tell you that? Now, didn't I tell you all just show up for 1800 seconds, and by the time we're over there, you can walk past the mirror and the mirror can call you back because it doesn't recognize you. You all listen, I don't care if they have a bigger house, a fancier car, or a larger bank account. That doesn't make anybody better than you. I don't care if they have 15 degrees and you have none. Doesn't make them better than you. They may have traveled the whole world and you may have only just made it around the corner, but that doesn't make them better. That make anybody better than you. What am I saying? Don't let people demean you. Don't let them devalue you. Don't let them disregard or belittle you. This is the part that speaks to me, you all. I often say that because your soul shines just as bright and your spirit stands just as tall as the next person. May I say that again? Your soul shines just as bright and your spirit stands just as tall as the next person. You have a right to be here. You have a right to success. Don't let people chip away at your emerald just trying to make their diamond shine. Some of my favorite people in the whole world are those who have learned how to walk with their heads up. And I said those who have learned how to walk with their heads up because they came from a place of holding their head down. Those are some of my favorite people who recognize that they have a right to be here and they've learned how to walk with their heads up. They've learned how to walk in a room and command respect. And it's not done out of arrogance or conceit, but those who have learned how to navigate in humility, but without compromising their dignity and their value and their self-respect. I'll tell you this. Speaking of redemption chips and all of that, you all understand that when you came into this world, it was like walking into a casino where you were given this whole bag of chips. And every time somebody tried to push you off the board or put you out of the game, you gave them a chip and you said, I get to play again because you don't get to write me off. You don't get to write me off because I got a bag of chips that would put me right back in the game. And I call these chips of love and chips of grace and chips of mercy. Because every time I get a chance to play one of them, I reclaim my status and I redeem my position in this game that's called life. That's why I say cash in your redemption chips as often as possible. Because I realize that I am among the best that have ever played this game. Why? Because the same person, the same one who made the best also made me. Made me. You all listen. I don't mind looking around, seeing other people blessed. Because I say to myself, the one who made them and caused them to be blessed, he wouldn't have done it for them without doing it for me. That's my reminder for us this evening. He would not have done it for them without doing it for me. I want to remind you to look in the mirror. Understand the value of who you are. I think I want to read something from my very first book. I want to read this poem. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Queen of them all. Cash in your redemption chips. Reclaim your status and redeem your position in life. Because the same person who made them made you. And he wouldn't have done it for them without doing it for you. May I invite you to see the value in yourself and then tell other people, see me as I am. I'm going to read from my first book, If Words Could Speak. This poem is called See Me As I Am. Experience what angers me and confuses me, what startles and amazes me. Discover what excites me and energizes me, what pleases and relaxes me. Understand what frightens me and know that I'm frightened by you, and not merely what I see in you, but your ability to reflect what I see in me. It is within this reflective dichotomy of convexity and concavity where I behold myself, and there I find black and white, old and young, complete and insecure, both worlds coexisting. I find happy and sad, proud and ashamed, two worlds commingling. I find those with and without, exalted and humbled, intimate and distant, all worlds interacting, dead and alive, loved and despised, learned and ignorant, accepted and rejected. Feel what satisfies me and know that you give me joy And not through your active, assertive, aggressive, and overt demeanor, but through your docile, subtle, and receptive acquiescence. Your ability to ease into my world and allow me to share my words, thoughts, and music, sermons, laws, and lyrics, visions, echoes, and fragrances, all in my world. Hopes, dreams, and fears, pain, joy, and tears, smiles, laughs, and cheers, all in my world. Mountains, hills, and valleys, rivers, brooks, and streams, flowing with ample rapidity and momentum that empower me to say this. Taste my life. Find yourself and dare to see me as I am. Listen, when you see yourself as you are empowered to then share yourself with others. And you never have to bow your head apologetically for who you are. I invite you to walk in the strength, knowing that the creator of the entire universe has DNA down inside of you. Recognize your own value, your own strength, and your own ability, and your own beauty. And say until we meet Thursday, I have a right to be here. So when others try to write you off, cash in your redemption chips. Listen, y'all, I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday sharing this space for only 1,800 seconds. Y'all trying to push me beyond 1,800 seconds, but I got to go, you all. Listen, until Thursday, make sure that we keep building community. Invite others. Let's maintain connectivity. Show up here every Tuesday and Thursdays. You all, listen, stay safe because of the pandemic still going on, and don't let anybody drive you crazy. Stay sane. Keep your heads up, but most importantly, keep your hope up. From my heart to yours, please know that there is and always will be so much love. Good night, you all.